In this video we will talk about the balance of Minecraft, whether it was better before and whether it is moving in the right direction now. So let's immediately point out the fact that Minecraft is not an RPG, not an action game, not a horror game, it's a sandbox. The game doesn't have a specific goal, strict framework that limits your creativity. And I say this not only in terms of construction, but also in terms of mechanisms, ways of completing the game and the like. What I mean is that some, when talking about balance, trying to blame the game for the lack of some RPG mechanics and compare it with those games that do not fit the definition of a sandbox. This is wrong. But the question is, if it's really so, then why don't the developers cut out survival and leave creativity, where you can create without conventions? Why do we need these RPG elements, dungeons and the like at all? Well, firstly, in order to simply turn out the brain and get distracted from the buildings. And secondly, in order to further establish the sandbox genre. Let's take as an example the very first day for most players. For many people, it is vital when you bury yourself at night from mobs, climb a tree, build pillars so that they cannot get you, and wait for the next day. Well, I'm sure that everyone after that builds something. Underground, above ground, on the ground, it does not matter, as long as such a plot does not repeat itself the next day. With this action, you have already approved the sandbox genre, that is, you have created something. You can consider this hidden training. You are not told that you can build a house. No, you come to this yourself. That's what mobs that spawn at night are for. There are enough of them for you to build something. This also requires hunger, because you build pens with animals and farms with food. That's what the need for resources is for, so that you need to make auto farms with them. Absolutely everything is interconnected. Those who have been playing in the game for a long time often say that it is not a difficult game. Personally, I have never seen a newbie who found it really easy to play. And in principle, all games become easy when you understand how their mechanics work and what approach is best to use in certain situations. Okay, let's put that aside. The game does become easy, but at the later stage of the game, when you have good weapons and enchantments for them. So I would call the difficulty of the game slightly below average. But is that bad? Minecraft is a game designed for a specific audience. Casuals. Casuals are players who are not that close to game and play purely for relaxation. Accordingly, if the game becomes sharply more difficult, then firstly, it will become much more difficult to create and build when you are surrounded by a bunch of complex mobs. And secondly, those same casuals simply will not want to play it because of the abrupt change in direction. Naturally, I'm not saying the difficulty is bad. As an example of a good game like this, I can cite Elden Ring. The game is controversial, but despite the obvious downsides, it appeals to audience that know that this game is about complexity and grinding. Its entire game design is built on this. And if you remove these elements from the ring, then you remove Elden Ring. The same with Minecraft. If the developers suddenly change the game's vector, it will be a slap in the face to the people who supported this game for several years. The answer to the fact that developers are lazy is very quick. A game developer can't just stand up and do nothing because of his laziness. It's the same job as, say, a worker at a factory. If you don't believe me, you can go to the developer's Twitter, X, and see how often the developers share what they are developing. If I don't forget, I leave links in the description to some of them. Snapshots are also released once a week, where there's open list of what they managed to do during the week. Yes, developers have winter and summer holidays, but I hope everyone who watched this video understands how valuable these days are. When you take a break from the place, you go every weekday and do something. Everyone needs a break, regardless of whether you like what are you doing or not. Another interesting topic. Minecraft used to have such a very unpleasant element of gameplay. Grind. It was absolutely everywhere. Want to activate a portal? No problem. Just find at least 12 endermen, when in one night you will meet 2 or 3. Want to fight a wither? Okay, go to the fortress and kill hundreds of wither skeletons. Want a good set of armor? Take pickaxe and look at the wall that you rake for a huge amount of time. How about it?
Boring!
Over time, this element of grinding is trying to narrow down. Diamonds are now easy to find in large caves. Spawns of endermen and wither skeletons have become larger. Enchanting, mining is done in a simpler way. The meaningless part was simply narrowed down so that you don't get bored. Again, no one says that grinding is bad. In Minecraft Dungeons, this is an integral part of the gameplay, which the developers have implemented in the most interesting way. And passing through the same biome can give you a different experience. In the video about Warden, I will tell you about the meaning of dungeons. Some people did not really like my statement about the fact that players should be hooked by the gaming experience and emotions, and not just loot. And now I will explain better what I mean then. Unique experience and emotions can be obtained not only from passing, but also from rebuilding this dungeon or building some kind of farm. The diversity of Minecraft allows you to do whatever you want with it, and the loot is just a reward of passing. It could be in first place only in a very sweaty battle with some boss, or conversely in very boring passage, but neither one nor the other is inherent in the ancient city. By the way, another feature that I noticed is that almost the structures and dungeons either look beautiful but are destroyed, or are intact but do not look perfect. So this is done so that people rebuild these dungeons. Agree, if the robbers mansion looked like this, you would dare to rebuild it. Personally, it worked great for me, and in my world both my villages were rebuilt. Of course, this is not a perfect game, like for example a granny simulator, so there is one problem that spoils a lot, and this is this button. Oh yeah, you can see it. This button. Let's not go into the point that there is a lot of unnecessary information for survival. Let's just take the most unbalancing lines. First, the coordinates. 5 years ago, I would have said that we couldn't do without this button, but now there is a very interesting replacement. A magnet can lead you straight to your base. Maps can show what interesting places are around us. Finally, blocks of earth, which can be used to immediately find a base in the distance. There are a lot of ways, but they all become useless after you look at this line. Also, what I don't like is the lighting level. It could well be replaced by a glare. Settings would show the spawn locations of mobs, but no, it lost the void. I personally don't use this line, because it's the worst way to find out where mobs spawn, but due to the lack of analogous, people have to use it and to look block by block to see where is dark. In short, this thing is outdated, and some indicators are not needed by most people at all. They could well be added to the hide and debug screen. Some of these lines are very necessary. For example, the one responsible for biomes. Only with its help you can find out exactly what biome you are standing on. In short, this setting needs to be thoroughly revoked, remove the most unused lines, and leave only the most important ones which you can't do without. Like to promote similar videos and write in the comments your thoughts and suggestions about the video and my channel. Well, for now, bye.